What is up, everybody? Hoang Zero here, and today I'm bringing you gameplay from one of the testing sessions that Zero and I had. This was when we were testing the Venus lock into the Chaos Gallantmon list that's going to be coming out really soon. So this is a very early on Chaos Gallantmon deck list that we were testing, but I just wanted to showcase just how powerful and annoying the Venus lock could be. So starting us off, I did end up going into my Patamon, Evo into Gatomon, and then Zero is going to go ahead, he plays the Analog Youth, and then he's going to go ahead evolve into the Black Growlmon as well. We're going to go ahead and pull this out, and we're going to go into our Arrow Vidramon. This will allow us to play our trial for free, and so the biggest thing here is that I know that for him to actually pop the Arrow Vidramon, it will take a couple of extra steps that will be involved. And so knowing that, it allows me to go into my Arrow Vidramon and play out my trial for free. If I done this in raising, that does mean I lose out on the value of the Arrow Vidramon, so I don't get to play the trial. And then I get to follow up with the Venusmon, locking out my opponent. From here, my opponent's going to go ahead, he's going to play out the Tocado, and the reason why he couldn't do anything proactive is because with Venusmon, that does mean his Wind Digivolving and Wind Attacking effects are all turned off online, and now I've already set up the Venus lock. So using the Trial of the 4 Great Dragons, I'm able to play out my Megidra, and I do make a misplay actually. What I should have gone ahead and done is I should have swung out with the Megidra because it has Rush due to Gatomon's ESS, so that way it puts me ahead in the damage race, but a little bit of a misplay there, and then I'm going to go ahead and hard slam the Gatomon over the TK. I could have played the TK to try and net myself that guaranteed 3 memory on every single turn, but the reason we went for the Gatomon is because I wanted the additional body to swing out with, so that way I'm putting my opponent on the clock. So at this point, I know that I'm going to be able to really just lock my opponent down a bit, and I do have the Ruin mode in hand as well. With the Ruin mode, that does give me the ability to inflict minus 5,000 DP onto my opponent's board, and simultaneously, if he were to pop the Ruin mode, then I get to pop his stack. So it's a pretty good trade-off for me. So at this point, he's really just debating what to do here because all of his abilities are turned off, so he's going to have a really difficult time playing the game. Looking at my hand, I don't have another Megidramon or another Venusmon or anything like that, so I'm not going to be able to actually lock him out of the game on the following turn, but that's where the Ruin mode comes in handy, right? I do have another Trial of the 4 Great Dragons, so when Megidramon does get popped, I will be able to play that. Goes ahead, plays the Guilmon. He does hit 2 targets, so he hits both Tocado as well as the Chaos Gallantmon. And then, yeah, so Megidramon, it's going to pop right now. I should have popped a little bit earlier, and then Trial of 4 Great Dragons. As you see, we did draw into the Angelwomons that will allow me to evolve and get a little bit more cycling going, but I decide here I believe I decided to swing out the Venusmon, I believe, because number one, I don't have another way to facilitate the Venusmon lock. Oh, I swing Gatomon first, right? Because I'm just trying to get chip. That way we hit the BT12 Gatomon, and it's like, woo! If we had swung Venusmon would have died. And I swing out Venusmon, and I hit a Crimson mode. So my stack gets absolutely obliterated, and we end up passing the turn on the TK. So the reason why I swung out the Venusmon and I didn't just keep it is because I didn't have a good way at deterring locking out my opponent. And so my game plan was to evolve into Venusmon. So hopefully it lives because it's 12,000 DP, and then evolve Ruin mode, popping his Guilmon, and then if he were to bring out his stack from back and trade into my Ruin mode stack, and then Ruin mode would pop his stack. If he leaves Ruin mode up, that's another 5,000 DP I can inflict. And at this point, we're a little bit on the back pedal. I do find a new rookie to work with, luckily, and I start to build back up, but he does have the Gallantmon that will burn on attack, as well as another Guilmon. So currently, he is representing 3 damage on board, so he only needs 1 more damage in order to actually inflict lethal. Right now, I'm contemplating popping my Trial of the 4 Great Dragon and playing out the Megidramon, but I tell myself he needs to work for the lethal just a little bit, and by doing so, that does give me an opportunity to try and set myself up for a play. I decide to cycle with the Angelwomon, trying to hope and find another Venusmon, because if I do find another Venusmon, I can restabilize this game. Even if I had played the Megidramon out and then minus security attacked onto his entire board, what that ends up doing is that doesn't solve the issue of me not having a Venusmon. Really, at this point, I need to find that Venusmon, and if I were to give up my Megidramon, then I wouldn't have another way to lock him down. He goes ahead, he loses the Guilmon, and I believe we are currently now at 20 cards of trash between both players, and he plays the Rush Guilmon for game. So that's the end of game 1. really. But up until Venusmon hit the Crimson mode, do note that we were doing pretty well. The only caveat is that we ran out of cards that inflicted the security minus board wide because we didn't have another Magnadramon, we didn't have another Venusmon. So that is a little bit of an issue with this deck, is that you do need some more fuel in the tank. I did mulligan. We didn't draw a rookie, so we have to hard play Gatomon. Only have one valid target, being the Magnadramon, but that's okay. Magnadramon is still a very powerful target, and we unfortunately have to bot deck the Harrismon, which definitely sucks. So our opponent's going to go ahead. 4 memory is a lot to work with. We go ahead, see the Rush Gilmon. He's going to go ahead and play the Memory Tamer Takato, so now our opponent has that memory to work with for the rest of the game. And then he's going to evolve into the Growlmon X. So that means he did whiff on the regular Growlmon, so that's a bit of a couple of inheritables that he's missing out on, which is totally fine. And at this point, like we've previously mentioned, his level 5 is going to have a little bit of difficulty actually popping us. So I'm going to go ahead and play the Arrow Vidramon to try and get value off the free Trial of the 4-Grade Dragon. But I completely forget the fact that War Growlmon allows you to Digivolve. And so he's able to go ahead and Digivolve, and then Raid Gallantmon when Digivolving pops my Arrow Vidramon, and so now I'm in a kind of a pickle, but luckily we do draw into a new line. So right now I realize that his Gallantmon is only threatening 2 damage right now, 1 on the burn, 1 on the actual swing. So I do have a little bit of time to actually play the game and try to build up, so I go ahead onto Woolmon, put us on the 1, but with a Tamer he goes to 3. So things are looking really dire right now, but have no fear, we have the Venusmon in hand, and we have double Magnadramon. He goes ahead, he burns the Andra Woolmon, he hits a trial out of security. It's really good for us. That means that these double Magnadramons are going to be online. And so at this point, plays the Analog Youth, and the mill is pretty good. Analog is a really great facilitator in this deck because it grabs your pieces, it puts your combo pieces like Chaos Gallimon in the trash, and now we can really just pop off here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cash in a Trial of the 4-Grade Dragons, and I'm going to play my Magnadramon. And so using Andra Woolmon's main effect, whenever I play a 4-Grade Dragon or I play a Trial, that allows me to inflict minus 3,000 DP, thus putting his Gallimon to only 9,000 DP. So the Magnadramon is actually able to swing over it. And now I can go into my Venusmon, and setting up the Venusmon, my opponent is now on lockdown, because now his level 5s, his level 6s, even Crimson mode will not be able to activate its when Digivolving, so he's going to struggle a lot with trying to get rid of this Venusmon. BT12 Gallantmon does have Raid, which will allow him to swing into the Venusmon, which is a little bit scary, but for him to actually do that, he would end up needing the Blitz Staccato. And so because I know he needs both Blitz Staccato as well as the level 5, he doesn't have enough memory to actually go into the Raid Gallantmon and kill my Venusmon. So mathed it out properly. And then I pop another Trial, get out another Magnadramon. Now the minus security attack, minus 2 security attack is back online. We're going to go ahead, I'm going to start swinging out here because that is some additional damage. And at this point, I realize that I'm threatening lethal on the following turn because we do have the hybrid in hand. So there we go, see the TK. And at this point, I'm really contemplating what to grab. I actually end up grabbing the Trial over the Gatomon because the logic you could do is like, oh, he could hit the Trial from security, and that would be like a really great position. But instead, I grab the Trial so that my Magnadramon pops, and I play the Trial for free. And then knowing I have the Rush ESS, if I were to top deck into another 4-Grade Dragon, that's another way of me inflicting damage should anything have gone awry. But we go to game 3. This hand looks terrible. But I have to go first too. Card Slam Gatomon looks familiar. I know it does. But luckily, we do hit 2 targets because it grabs the Angel plus the 4-Grade Dragon. So we grab the Andra Woolmon plus the Magnadramon. So again, Magnadramon, really, really good fuel and tank. Is going to go ahead, Hard Slime is Gilmon. He does hit double target again. He grabs the Growlmon as well as the Staccato. And if he has a way to pop his Gatomon, we're in a really bad position. But luckily, Growlmon only pops 3,000 or less. We end up milling 2. And because of the mill 2, it does draw us into the Venusmon. So right now, we do have the Trial set up. We're going to go ahead, go into our level 5. That will play out a Trial for free. And again, we're asking him to show us some form of removal so he can actually get rid of our level 5. Our level 5 being at 7,000 DP puts us in a pretty great position. There we do see the War Growlmon. War Growlmon only pops 4,000 DP. However, using War Growlmon's ability that will allow him to Digivolve into a Gallantmon, if he chooses to, he decides to go into Megidramon, which is treated as Chaos Gallimon. Thus, it is eligible to pop. It just pops 10,000 or less DP. He also has the Gigimon Egg, so additional 1,000 DP plus Growlmon X, so that's 12,000 DP. So we do lose the Arrow Vidramon, unfortunately, but luckily luckily, because Megidra does cost 5, that does allow us to hard slam the Gallant straight up, and then we can evolve into the Anjouan. If we evolve into the Anjouan, then we can set up the Venus lock, and once again, we can start to play the game. I do have a Trial of the 4-Grade Dragon already in my hand. At this point, I'm really just debating on whether or not I want to pop my Trial of the 4-Grade Dragon and then play out the Megidra. Everybody's going to go to the Venus. I decided to go for the Venus because if I go for the Megidra plus the Venus, I'm wasting one of my security attack minuses that can really just grind out my opponent. So we're going into the Venus Mon. I know for a fact that my opponent, without the Blitz Staccato, will be unable to actually raid into my Venus Mon, so that way our Venus Mon is guaranteed to survive for an additional turn. So I'm really not worried at this position, unless he has some kind of like wacky option. But knowing that his memory thresholds, I know he can't really do anything to hurt us. And we do have that trial to set up the Megidra for the following turn, and then that Megidra will pop into another trial, and that trial will give us another Megidra. So we essentially just bought ourselves 3 free turns where our opponent can just not interact with us. Goes ahead, plays a Staccato. I do have a rookie this time, get that Evo in back, and here we go. There is the Megidra. We have the Gallant Rush ESS that will allow us to get a little bit of chip damage out here, and that's really important that you do put on that pressure. There is a version of this deck where you're using Ophanimon to get the purple source to get Anjouan's plus security attack, but I think personally this version is better, just because the trial with a Venusmon is so potent. But at this point, yep, Megidra board-wide security attack minus is currently online. At this point, I'm contemplating whether or not I want to swing in and risk my Venusmon dying. And I do decide to actually go ahead and do that line of play. So swing on the Megidra, I tell myself if Megidra dies, we're totally okay because we've already applied the minus security attack, so we're fine if Megidra ends up dying. If the Megidra ends up living, we're also totally in a great position, and we do draw into the Ruin Mode. Ruin Mode is an absolutely insane card, and we end up playing the TK. What playing the TK ends up doing is it guarantees us the 3 additional memory, so that on our following turn we can evolve into a 5 if need be, and then we can extend off of that. That also gives us a tamer for us to go into hybrid over. And luckily, I do find another Venusmon in my security, so if this first Venus were to go down somehow, we are still in a really good position. Note, he does not have Blitz Staccato yet. Because he does not have Blitz Staccato, that does mean he cannot go 5 and then go into 6 and then pop my Venus. So once again, my Venus is untouchable on this current turn, and there is the Blitz Staccato. Megidra is going to go pop itself due to the trial's effect, and then we will play another trial. Now, our opponent currently at 4 security, and you know, 4-Grade Dragon Venus Lock is not a deck that has a lot of damage behind it, but we're going to go ahead, we're going to play another Megidra through the trial, and then we're going to swing in, hits the Analog Youth. That can be a little bit scary because that's just more fuel in the tank, currently pushing its way towards 20 cards in trash, so he can go ahead and use that Rush Gilmon. But now, we're going to go ahead, we're going to use the Anjouan. Do note, because we played a 4-Grade Dragon, the minus 3000 DP from Anjouan's ESS does apply to the Growlmon. And then we're going to go ahead, evolve into a new Anjouan. Anjouan played the Trial of 4-Grade Dragons, and then she also applies a minus 3000 DP. So we end up actually sniping a body, which is really great. And at this point, I'm trying to set myself up for a position to win. Knowing that my opponent can swing, he can't swing into the Venusmon, but he can swing... he can try and, you know, do a few crazy shenanigans, right? And at this point, I'm really just trying to play around whatever possible shenanigans. Like, he could go into Gallantmon, raid into my Anjouan stack, and then kill it off. He could go ahead and also... Yeah, so if he raids into the Anjouan stack, I'm in a really bad position. Because then I'm no longer threatening lethal. Or I guess I have hybrid, but then the Megidra pops itself. So yeah, I'm not threatening lethal because I also don't have a 4-Grade Dragon in hand. Knowing I don't have a 4-Grade Dragon in hand, that does mean I have to play a little bit more aggressive to actually threaten lethal. So that way, that's the reason why I swing out the Anjouan stack almost immediately, knowing that he could have a raided Gallantmon in his hand. But this means he is now at a threshold where I can threaten lethal. Because... with Venusmon, he can't swing into Venusmon, so Venusmon is safe, because he can't raid into it because it is suspended. That is the one caveat to raid. And then, so Venusmon is a free swing that can go in. Patamon dropping that body. He doesn't have any of his when attacking, when digivolving, so popping the Patamon is very difficult for him. So that's another body I can swing out with. And if somehow he manages to kill either the Venus or the Patamon, that will allow me to go into the, I can go into the Zephyrmon, and that will push for game. So yeah, that is some of the potential from the 4-Grade Dragon Venus lock. Hope you guys found this entertaining. Thank you all so much for watching. Peace out.